Okay, so in this tutorial video, I will be covering how to set up the graphics for a baseball or softball broadcast for the spring. So again, main components of this, you should be watching our video on how to do the general setup. For any broadcast, we have a physical setup guide for the camera and getting that running through your MacBook. And also, we have kind of just general guidelines of testing your internet connection, getting the camera feed to show up on your screen, which would be up here in the right corner. So kind of get all those things in place, watch those videos first, and then if you're getting ready to do a baseball or softball game, then kind of move on to this as the next step. So our first thing with graphics, which we have explained in some previous videos for other sports, one of the first things you're going to want to look for is the image overlay, and we have different image overlays for whichever broadcast and broadcast location you're doing. So you can search for those by name. There are two tabs. If it's a brand new MacBook that we've never used for broadcast, the first time you open it, there will be nothing located in this open tab. If you want to use a graphic, you have to download it, and then it appears. So like this baseball breakboard, we'll show you. We'll download it. You have to download it first, then it's in the open tab, and you can open it and use it from there on out. So general guidelines for that. So first thing you want to look for is the image overlay. So if you search for image overlay, we'll have several that we update for you. You should be looking for the one that matches the sport. And then the broadcast location of where you're doing the game. So in this example, we'll pretend we're doing a game in Shakopee. We label them Diamond because they're the same for baseball and softball. So we'll open up this Shakopee Diamond image overlay queue. You can see it appears right here. For any of the graphics, this tab, you click and drag it over to this field. And then for the image overlay queue, you can cycle through all the different graphics that are located in there. For the live reads, you hit overlay to actually push it out on screen to what's going out in the broadcast, and you hit clear to wipe everything clear from there. So that's the first one you're going to look for. This is the image overlay graphics, which go along with the corresponding live reads that we send you. Other ones you're going to need, you can sort this filter and go to baseball. It'll work for softball as well too. So I don't have any baseball graphics yet downloaded. Well, just a couple here. So the main ones you're going to use, you're going to need this control panel, and you're going to need a scoreboard. So I've checked these two, and I will hit open. These are kind of the essential three, I'd say, right here. The image overlay queue, the control panel, and the baseball/softball scoreboard. So again, one of the initial things that sometimes is confusing when you're new, the control panel is not actually a graphic. So if you drag it over here, nothing happens. It won't put anything up on the screen. You're not actually using the control panel graphic. You're using the one that's labeled the scoreboard. And then the control panel updates the scoreboard for you. So within this scoreboard tab, you can't really do much with it. You just can kind of choose where it's located. I usually put it lower to left. If we have a sponsor like the Violin Wild scoreboard, you can add it kind of to this little banner up top. Other than that, you can also go into the settings. You can add a custom logo, which we can do sometimes. So we could, add a Shakopee logo here and add that to the side. But we'll have sponsor logos sometimes that we'll throw in on this as well. Other than that, you're actually updating the score and customizing it with this control panel tab. So everything here you need, you'll see these three tabs on the side. This is like just updating the score, the count, the base states. You can go and type in your team information in these away and home tabs here. So we can do... we'll make the away team Eden Prairie, put their abbreviation for how it appears here. You can select a color, and you can select a logo as well too that'll appear Doesn't appear initially, but actually with this graphic, when it pops up, you see the team logo flashes up. So that's that. There'll be some other graphics where you can also kind of click up here and you can put in the starting lineup, which will pull in another graphic that is optional that you can kind of use, that I'll show you in here. Go to the home team, and we'll put in their information as well too. Make the Sabres red since they're at home, and we can add a logo for Shakopee here as well too. So that's kind of the info on that. You have your two teams on the scoreboard. You can, update the scoring here. You can update the base outstates. You can update the count, balls and strikes. You can also take off the count. If you have a producer running the game for you, they should definitely be updating all of that stuff. If I'm doing a game solo, I will just keep things with the base states and the score. So you can kind of hide the count if you don't want to have to worry about constantly updating that. You can advance the inning by doing this. You can advance the outs clicking here. This is kind of the basics of updating the score on that. So that's kind of the essentials for baseball and softball. There's some other graphics that you can kind of play around with. This break board I like to use from kind of going in and out of breaks. It just looks a little nicer to kind of fill up the screen. It shows hits and errors, so you can also update that by adjusting these little notches here to keep that updated. So I like to use that graphic. You have a fielding lineup, which looks really nice, and there should be a just starting lineup offensively that I like to use. There's a couple different versions. Let's see. Well, for example, we'll just use this batting lineup. But these are just kind of other optional graphics if you have time and you want to throw them in. These are kind of neat additions. So the batting lineup is going to pull from whatever you type in the control panel when you go to starting lineup. So I'll just kind of type in, one name here and show you how that pops up. So that's kind of how you adjust that. Your fielding lineup then, once you type in all of your players, they will eventually show up here. This one can be a little bit buggy. Actually, if you're finding you're not seeing the players that you typed in your fielding lineup drop down, I'll put in a couple just to kind of show you. So I got 2 players in Eden Prairie, and if I go here to the away team and I click a drop down, they're not showing up. If you just close that fielding lineup and reopen it, then they'll actually show up here. So you can throw in a couple players onto your fielding lineup, and then I'll kind of show you what this one looks like as well too. Here's the fielding lineup. If you don't have pictures, I'd take that off. You can alternate between the home and the away team. We just put in 2 players in Eden Prairie, but you can see they're showing up in their kind of respective spots here. So these are some optional ones. These first 3 I showed you, the control panel, the scoreboard, and the image overlay. Kind of make sure you have those loaded up. And then just these kind of 3 last ones, the batting and fielding lineups and the break board, are kind of optional ones that I'll throw in for some extra production value if I have time or I have a producer that's working with me, and we can make it look a little fancier. So that's kind of my recommendations for how you kind of organize and set up a baseball or softball broadcast.